God damn, I hurt. I'm trying to take some notes. I gotta go to the courthouse tomorrow now. I gotta see if there's any forms to file. The landlord wants to change the discovery, what's tomorrow or Friday, what we were set up for, to Monday because he's in Quebec like my father. Actually, this landlord lives like right across from my father, like less than a mile away in a beach house. Meanwhile, my father is like really close, and he's now the landlord's on a vacation to Quebec with his lawyer. Well, they must be like girlfriend and boyfriend. I mean, she looks like the meanest woman in the world. She just wants to screw you. I mean, that's what I mean. She's a good lawyer, I guess. Um, what's the difference from a lawyer and a shark? The shark will leave something behind. I made that one up years ago myself. There was all a bunch of ones that are already made up, so I just did my own. I thought it was pretty good. Anyway, so yeah, I can't take this. I got a USB drive downloading. I got paperwork here. I'm going through. I mean, look at all that. I barely can read. I mean, I can read, but lawyer paperwork. I got letters handwritten that I actually writ and copied down that David couldn't read, and then I just had him copy in his handwriting so they could read it because my handwriting was all shaky and nobody could understand it, so I used him as a copier. Um, like changing the handwriting to actual readable and giving them each a letter at a time, like an art project. We got another note right here from welfare that the landlord needs to fill out if he wants more money. We got medical paperwork to show that David needs radiation and that I received injuries from the landlord actually assaulting me while trying to hand him paperwork. And the paperwork clearly says that we've already discussed bedbug stuff and we have 2 rooms shut down that we can't use and we need them bombed. We have water coming in 2 windows and now roof tiles coming down. So we have some paperwork filed on that, which is very clear that we were complaining about this first. But now he's saying that the eviction was the true first thing, and now he says we're frivolous doing this, even though the letter was issued and the assault was issued and the stuff mailed was months before we ever even had a discussion before the assault. And then after the assault, after he decided he didn't want to take a letter, is when. Now I sound like a pussy doing nothing about it, but that's why this is better in court. I sat and took it instead of grabbing his throat, pulling him to the ground, and just giving him one to the fucking windpipe. I didn't do that. No, I didn't pull him down. I mean, even as my kidneys hurt, even as he's kicking me in my kidneys, you can always grab a guy by the shirt that heavy and that old and just throw him to the ground and give him a whack to the throat. But no, I kept my GI protected, and I just screamed, "Call the cops! Call the cops! Call an ambulance!" Whatever. I was injured already before this. I'm definitely going to be injured more after this. I was starting to heal, so much for that. What I really need is another apartment, a doctor, a neurologist. I need to get the fuck out of the state. I think that North Carolina, in an apartment with doctors and Social Security, I would do great things. But fuck all that. I mean, Social Security requires my father telling the truth. Me getting medical care requires my father telling the truth. Me ever driving again requires my father telling the truth. And apartments aren't really easy to get, especially if you can't drive or you're having difficulty getting around. So I'm just screwed. I'm just screwed. All my rights are not available. I mean, I can't go to the doctor and get treatment for my injuries because they only want to treat me from the fantasies my mother and father made up. I go down to try to use a shelter, and my disabilities aren't documented properly. So when my disabilities become apparent, and I have no paperwork on my actual disabilities, they're like, "Come back when you get paperwork." I can't drive until we actually have some medicine for this. I can't be twitching on the gas pedal and making turns left and right and spinning out everywhere. Work won't keep me for very long, and with these injuries, plus I have so many now, no job will let me back until I'm medically cleared. But I actually have a company that I run, a store that I can go back to as soon as most of this stuff is taken care of. But there's no way. These kidneys keep on getting worse. The GI is maybe a couple months from getting better, diagnosed, whatever. I just got to be careful not to lift and do the same shit I did last time. But the kidneys, I have no idea, and the neurological disorder definitely needs paperwork on that. The stomach and esophagus, it's about time, as well as the actual health issues and what the cause is. So that way, people aren't like, what is this kid? What is he? We don't, man, none of this makes any sense. Well, his father says he's just some crazy fire setter, serial killer, crazy kid. Maybe that's why we can't make sense. Yeah, he's just some crazy kid, yeah. Well, why is he falling down, having seizures, and getting scraped off the ground? He's faking. He's a crazy kid, his father says. Yeah, it's a fantasy, yeah. Fuck you guys, I want to die. You realize that, right? When somebody's having this many seizures over a 25-year period and he becomes this bad, doing that is deadly. And of course, you can see the results of what my father did. I mean, it's very clear now. It's very, very clear to everybody. My boss, my coworkers, even my roommate, but he's completely useless. I mean, he's in La La Land too. My father's only in La La Land when he has to stand up to my mother or his wife, or my mother is doing something horrible and illegal to me. Then he would put himself in La La Land. But other than that, my father's not a La La Land guy. I don't even understand how my mother can be saying such horrible things in front of him, and he goes in La La Land while me, my sister's husband are sitting there horrified. And then I have to keep on getting drugged too. It's not like it stops there. She admits that she's doing something really bad, that she already did stuff that's illegal and very bad. I have clear memories and this clear documentation, and there's teachers really worried, and then she traffics me from state to state. You got all this in a clear line, documented paper trail. She buried the paper in Texas, New Mexico, and Maine. She went to 3 states burying it, and then she just told stories at the age of 12 all the way on to 19 until her liver failed because the guilt was getting to her. She's popping her son's pills, she's drinking alcohol, mixing pills with alcohol. And what happens when you do that for multiple years? What happens if you have one drink at bedtime with a combination of pills every night? Does anybody know? Come on. I mean, we've seen enough addicts, right? You've seen enough people in the homeless shelter that drink and take pills. You must know what happens when you take pills and then you drink alcohol on a regular basis. You go into liver failure. Yes, that's it. Your liver can't repair itself. You haven't given it a chance to repair, so it gets scars all over it. Yes, every time you take pills or drink, you're slightly scarring your liver. And if you're doing it too much, it builds up over time. Now, I remember my mother having pills all the time. I remember on a plane, she was drinking alcohol on the plane, and she gave me a pink pill for a headache and then popped one herself. And this is way before this is like 3 years before she passed away. And then like 2 years or a year before she passed away, I caught her taking multiple of my Vicodin out of the bottle. Even after I told her to stop stealing my Vicodin, stop taking my meds, she still continued. When it was down to about 9 of my pills left, I had to take them from her so she would stop taking them. And I let her know again, don't take my damn pills. And I think she continued, but they were just Tylenol at that point. And those were just regular Vicodin, and they were my pills. She knew better. And honestly, she kept on taking things like Tylenol, pink, weird opiates. She had a cocktail of pills that gave her an infection in the eye that destroyed her immune system, too. Yeah, she was taking so many pills from that closet that she got an eye infection. Yeah, it said it right on the back of her pills. That's why she said it. She thinks it's from her medication, because it was. It absolutely was. She got an eye infection because her immune system got shot from mixing all the pills she had. Plus, she's drinking alcohol with those pills, throwing them off, because she doesn't understand the reaction from alcohol and medication. She tells me it all the time. She says, Zach, you can't mix pills with those pills. You can't mix alcohol with those pills. You can't mix alcohol with pills. And she's right. You have to be careful what pills you mix with alcohol. She was absolutely right. She should have took her own advice. So, yeah. And my mother, even though she was telling me stuff like that at dinner, she goes, you need these meds. You got to take these meds. Don't drink with these meds. You can't stop taking these meds. You need to take these meds for life. Meanwhile, she's switching the drugs around and sneaking me her own pills. And during childhood, I went from being drugged up in Westford to being on less drugs and doing pretty good, to being all swung around the place, choked out, and being left in a field, to homeschooling and no doctors whatsoever, and then my mother wanting to spin psychological stories to my every doctor back like she did in Westford. So every time my mother went back to Massachusetts, she tried to pay off every psych doctor to listen to her fantasies, and then she would try to get them established as my medical record. Do you know how fucked up that is? I mean, that's still hurting me today. Every time I need medical care, it's fucking me up the ass. Every time I walk into a hospital, every time I have a seizure and they bring me to the emergency room, my mother and father are sitting right there with a big rod ready to stick it up my ass and stick it to me. Now, I think that I'm starting to bleed because I'm at the 100th time my father railed me. I think he's starting to put spikes on that rod. I don't know. I mean, I'm 31. I've been getting that rod up the ass from doctors for 25 years because of my mother's stories. She started at age 7 with swimming medals and overdoses and made up fantasies. And when I suck my skin, I must be a self-harmer at age 7. Then she buries everything that she tried to do because she's getting caught. So she just buries that. She goes to Texas, New Mexico, puts me in New Mexico, moves me to Maine. Then she moves me to Mass and tries again. She says, oh, let me try this again now that I buried everything. That's fucked up. And now I get railed up the ass every time I need medical help. All they want to do is treat me for drugs, give me any drugs I want. I mean, they give me all these different drugs. I mean, during childhood, at the age of 10, I was like a freaking drug dealer. I had all these low doses of meth. I had benzos. My mother was giving me opiates. I mean, I tried just about every opiate. A Vicodin, a pink one that has a weird name. I also took, what is that called? Oxycodone. And then on top of that, during childhood, I experienced an overdose that was so powerful that I destroyed my nervous system. That was probably from an opiate as well. Then we also got 3 different types of methamphetamines: Vyvanse, Adderall, Ritalin. Adderall, Ritalin at childhood, Vyvanse as an adult. Then we got, don't forget all the Thorazine, Seroquel, Lamictal, Risperidone, Trazodone. You got, don't forget, what is it called? Lithium. Don't forget the Lamictal. That's only a half. I was on more meds than a serial killer, only because I said, Mom, give me a hug. Oh no, he wants a hug. Let's drug the shit out of him. Mom, I want a swimming medal in the orphan. No, you stole that and you're trying to hurt me. Let's get you some drugs. Hey, Mom, I sucked on my skin and I got a mark. No, you're self-harming. Let's get you some drugs. I slipped in the pool and cut in the back of my foot. Tim goes, yeah, he did. And then Seth goes, yeah, he did. And then the witnesses say, yeah, we all saw it and he needed stitches. And then my mother goes, no, he didn't. No, he's self-harming. Let's get him some drugs. God damn, that's a big problem still today.